What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Snorri, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMGGift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMGGift. Enjoy the video. Alright, everybody, we are back for... what are we, 50 through 41, and we are starting with the panda up there. There you go. Uncle Ho is going to be number 50, and he's a new addition. And I put Uncle Ho number 50 because I really think he, again, if I was grading on potential, he would be huge in the potential aspect. But right now, his fit in with pandas doesn't really give him more than that. But he could end up being a vital part of that panda team because of what he brings. And the big part of what Uncle Ho brings is he inflicts daze or burn. I love this passive ability to 3 random enemies for 2 turns after he uses any skill. That's just an amazing passive and really, really benefits the game and that team. Now, if you're building a burn team, he would definitely fit in there, but he just doesn't fit much outside of that lake, lead, ember, burn team. This one, I really, really like his second ability. Deals 420 physical damage to an enemy. This attack can't be dodged. That's awesome. Half the damage from this attack penetrates their shield. And then it's got the Hilda thing, but the fact that it can't be dodged and it's doing 420% magic damage is absolutely phenomenal. Now, he also has a couple different ways to rune this guy. You know, you want him to go super duper fast to put up this ability here where he puts the accuracy decrease when you're in that lake team. But if you're putting him in just a normal burn team, you can build him more for damage. So he does give a little bit of options. When we talk about his stats, some of the bigger problems I see with Uncle Ho is his speed is low for a damage dealer, even at 139. His magic armor and physical armor are on pace. His potency is good to start. I mean, he's coming in at 31%. Health and shield combination, pretty solid at 45,000. Critical chance, 28. So his stats are really good. That's why his potential, I think, could be absolutely phenomenal. But it's his speed that really makes him difficult to kind of do what you truly, truly want to do with this character. Next up here, we have Master Duo, another panda, and Master Duo got the rework, and to me he did improve a little bit. His passive ability, I like the fact that he can go against the invisible enemies. I really think that is a solid touch to his kit. And then his second ability, I love 220 physical damage, gains the damage increase for 2 turns and attacks all enemies. That was doing some great damage under that Kinley lead, and I'm very happy with that. You know, but this move here, they've added the health recovery, which is a solid, but the counterattack still is kind of like blasé to me. I don't understand why the pandas have the counterattack. It doesn't incorporate to the lead, it's on single people. I just don't understand the counterattack in pandas. And then the fact that he can inflict slow is awesome, and a 50% chance to inflict slow for 2 turns. To me, that should be base. It's a basic 80, 90%, even 100 to inflict that slow would be so much more beneficial than 50%. Glaring issue with Master Duo is his speed. 113 at gear 11. That is below some defenders in the game, and it really just doesn't make a lot of sense to me why it's that low. Health and shield combination, very, very good. His physical armor is fantastic. Magic armor is very good. Crit chance is 23%, so a little bit lower. But why Master Duo falls to here is you have raids and a panda team. What else you doing with him? You know, he bumped up because before he was just a raid character. Now he is at least has a home in that panda team under a Kinley leadership. Next up we have Fao. And Fao is kind of like the black sheep of the panda teams. They tried to make her fit with that Lake team, and she does to an extent, but she has a lot of problems, right? In my mind, she's still a little better than Master Duo because of her Grace ability, which obviously increases the dodge increase for 4 allies. Now, if that was to everybody, that would be awesome. You really can't use her with anybody who drops pets or minions, things like that, because if it goes to Battle Poo, it pisses me off. So you got to be careful of that. But the fact now that it gains cheat death is awesome. Also, her passive ability. The fact that critical hits inflict burning for 1 turn, if there's a living panda mage, is awesome. What if you want to use her in a burn team, and you don't put Ember on that team, like say you're putting her in with Amara and Thanisa? Why does it have to be an allied panda mage? This move is still super confusing to me. The target and 2 random enemies, just making an AoE, that would definitely increase her value for that team. Her crit damage starts at 30, or crit chance starts at 30%, almost 31%. Magic armor's 23, physical armor's 25. Physical damage is just a touch under 2,900. But her health and shield combination, 34,500. It's super, super frustrating. The cheat death does help, but sometimes it doesn't come soon enough, or it falls off, and then she just gets slaughtered. And then now, with the caveat of putting on burning, we got to look at her potency, and her potency is not bad at 31%, but that's more things we have to look for in her runes. But if it wasn't for that Grace ability, which we all know dodge is broken, I will continue to say that. That's why she's there, is that Grace ability pushes her up higher than Master Duo or Uncle Ho. Snorri is the next one on the list, and he's just another frustrating character for me, and when there was less characters in the game, Snorri was way more viable, right? He's just not there anymore. And it's primarily due to his stats, because his move kit is not bad at all. His passive ability, 30% magic armor, 30% tenacity, if not in Berserk stance. Well, you're going to be in Berserk stance because you pop it right away. His passive ability should be that Berserk stance, that he gains it. Is at the start of the battle, he gains Berserk stance. That should be his passive. If Friezard's on the battlefield, he receives the same buffs. You know, it's not bad because the magic armor increase he needs, tenacity, whatever. You know, but the Berserk stance, how he gains so much from the Berserk stance, 25% crit chance, 40% speed. This here should be his passive. You know, he does remove debuffs, so you can like cleanse himself, but then you lose Berserk stance. So depending on the debuffs you have, you know, if it's like a heal block, you might want to remove Berserk stance. But for the most part, if it's just a bleed or something like that, you're just going to let it ride, because you don't want to lose that speed or that crit chance. His whirlwind ability is not bad at all. 220 physical damage, and he puts on bleeding, so he fits into that bleed comp, so he does have some plug-and-play viability. You do need Friezard with Snorri to really reach his max potential where he gets that cheat death. That is what really makes Snorri way more beneficial. But again, we're seeing ungodly low speed. 126. Get him up to that high 130s, low 140s range, and then you can work with him a little bit more. His potency, 28%, good place to start, but you need to put a lot into this character. You know, you got to add speed to him. He's a damage dealer. You want him to do potency. You know, I mean, you don't got to focus so much on speed because you have the Berserk stance, but then you lose that. That's why it should just be his passive. He gets this, and that's it. But the reason he is above the other characters on my list is because he does have the plug and play with the bleed team. He's almost vital for that team. He pair him with Friezard and it takes him to another level. Next one up, Sergeant Pigwald. And I like Sergeant Pigwald if you read his move kit, but he can do some things outside of the Goblin comp, which is why he's a little bit higher. If you need him to, I mean, it's not like super recommended, but you could. And, you know, he ups his physical damage by 30%, so he still has a passive even outside of the Goblin comp that benefits him. that 30% extra physical damage is great. This is the move I love though. 260 physical damage to 2 enemies with the lowest health. This ability kills an enemy, its cooldown is instantly reset. So they go invisible, their taunt is up. Whatever the case might be, that these people, you can't get to them, you have the rocket strike. He's super beneficial for an invisible team, or sometimes in Battlegrounds I went against a team where a guy loaded up with 3 tanks. I brought in Sergeant Pigwald and a goblin team, even where he was at, and I had rocket strike, and it really helped me out. So he can be beneficial to what you want to do, and that's what gives him that plug and play viability. Now you do have to waste the move on the charge ability, but the charge again increases his physical damage, so it frees up stuff to do with his runes. And when we go over his stats, you can see what it's going to do to you. And the fact that it recovers 50% turn meter doesn't make it as horrible as it should be. But we take a look at his stats. Speed 129. Horrendous. Health and shield combination 32k, so he's squishier than heck. So you gotta watch out for that. His physical armor aren't bad at all. His magic armor is 21, so he can get shredded by an AoE damage dealer, but the benefit of him being hidden and you pair him with a Thanisa over a Frank to heal him back up makes a little bit of a difference. And his crit chance is 31%, just a little bit under 31%. So he does bring a lot of things, and that rocket strike is what really pushes Sergeant Pigwald to where he needs to be, a usable character outside of the Goblin faction. We are on to number 45, which is Adam. And I've grown to appreciate Adam more and more. I rated him a trash character on the first tier list I ever did. And I don't think he's more than a common character, but he's certainly not trash. He brings things to the party, especially that General Murdoch party that is going to be super huge. I'm interested to see what happens with the half-pig henchman, if he has anything to do with that, but I don't know how that's going to work. But what he brings to the General Murdoch team, he keeps them alive and he keeps them up. This move is terrible. It should be 100% of the time. At the end of his turn, he gets taunt. That's the way it should be. But the fact that he gains shield equal to 40% of his max health can help you. If you don't have enough to keep him up, he can do something to help. But what really comes in handy here is deals 80% physical damage to all enemies. Who cares about the damage? 40% chance to inflict a damage decrease for 2 turns. You're pairing him, he could be your tank for squishier characters, because on the AoE, on his basic, you don't need any cooldown, you can just spam the ever-loving heck out of it, get that damage decrease, and it helps keep those squishy characters alive longer. You know, so I've just grown to kind of appreciate Adam for what he is. And when you look at his stats, I mean, his health and shield combination, 53k is already kind of beefy. So you can definitely bump up those multipliers greatly to help you out. He has good physical armor, 30 magic armor, really helps you out there. And then for a tank, we're looking at 38 potency to start. That's big. You want him slow, and I always misunderstood that. I'm like, oh man, you want him to get like 130, 140. No. Leave it. Leave him at 100. The longer he sits there, the more damage he absorbs, and he can actually be a good defender. Little bit of plug and play viability early in the game for sure, but if you have like a team of squishy people in Battlegrounds left, and Adam's still sitting there because you don't have your goblins built up, throw in Adam. That damage decrease actually does more than what you think it's going to do. I mean, it's not going to make him invincible, but it's going to help. 44, Mar. Mar is actually okay. He's one of the better starting orcs, and he can be filled in as a damage dealer. If you're short an AoE damage dealer, you can use Mar. And one of the things I like about Mar that I never used to is this move right here. He deals more damage for the more health he's missing. And you might say, well, you don't want him to die. Well, you don't, but he's going to. His health pool is low. It's going to happen. So they're compensating that, so that's not too bad at all. He gains a damage increase, crit chance increase, crit damage increase for 2 turns and recovers 50% of his turn meter. Much like Sergeant Pigwald, waste of a move, but Getting the turn meter makes the punch in the nuts a little bit better. But this move is awesome. I love the way this plays. You stack crit chance on him, and if he lands 4 critical hits, the cooldown instantly resets, and you can just spam this all the time. You just stack as much crit rate on him as you can. I played around with crit damage sets. I played around with critical chance sets, and you just kind of, if you want him to hit harder, you go crit chance, crit damage. If you just want this move to reset, just throw crit chance on him and let him go. One negative for Mar that brings him down for me is this basic ability. 240 to 300. I hate that. Just put it in the middle and say he does 260 damage all the time. 240 on a basic's great. 300's unbelievable. But why has it got to vary like that? It drives me crazy because you're expecting to finish somebody off because what he hit last time. Because that's how I played in my head, like move after move after move. And he just, that just infuriates me. But you look at Mar's stats, speed of 119. Again, but he's that early champion. You got to put speed on this guy because he is recovering his 50% of his turn meter. But if you left him at 119 speed, it's going to take 3 or 4 moves before he can go again. His health and shield combination is at 45k, which is not bad. But his health is only at 20,000. So when you build this guy, put him as shield. Build that shield up on him. Helps out a lot. Physical armor and magic armor aren't bad. His physical damage, especially for an early game character, 2,700, low end. You're going to have to add some of that, but you're just more worried about the critical hits, so you can just keep spamming that AoE. Mar has a touch of plug-and-play viability for an early game orc. Not a whole hell of a lot, but enough to make him better than the other characters that I ranked, and the fact that he can spam the AoE bumps him up for me. Next up on the list, we have Reval, and Reval is a different kind of character. I love his look. He's one of my favorite looking characters. I don't know, the White Tiger just does it for me, I guess. He does have a leadership, which is extremely good for raids, especially in tier 8. So that is huge, right? And I gotta max that out. I didn't even know I didn't have that maxed out. I've been using him in battlegrounds, and that's why I'm probably getting slaughtered. You pretty much pride, it's for pride only, but they're restoring a chance on a random ability, 50% shot, but increasing their max health, and you're going to be putting in squishier prides, so that is a plus. What I like and what makes him valuable on a bleed team is that he's doing 20% more damage for each stack of bleeding on the enemy. That is nice if you can get it going around. His AoE is kind of lackluster at 240, and it's just to all enemies. It doesn't do anything special or give you anything more than just a simple AoE. And his basic inflicts bleeding guaranteed as long as you get past that 1 potency tenacity check for 2 turns. So why isn't Reval a little bit higher, right? He's not higher for me because he's very niche. You got to have a lot of people around him to really make him good. In that mid-game, Reval can come in, you're like, he's the best damage dealer I've ever had. And then he drops quickly. And you talk about, all right, I want somebody who's going to put a damage over time and just give an AoE that does 240 damage. There's other damage dealers that go way faster than he does that could bring more to your team. But that second pride lead, the bleed team synergy outside of the pride can help, and that's Reval. Next up on the list is Hera. And what makes Hera so good? Her pride lead. She gives Salvador a taunt off the bat. Do you use Hera any place but being a pride lead? No. Does she bring anything to the game besides really that lead? No. But the lead is very good. Giving Salvador a pre-taunt, the only one in the game, so he can use that steel shell on his first ability, is massive. And it can't be understated, and that's why she's here. She's the best pride leadership in my opinion, and that lead is just really good. It makes Salvador so much better, but her move kit is just kind of bland, but the one thing I really do like is the Oasis of Shadow. She gives a dodge increase and a crit chance increase, and applies both to one ally for 2 turns. All other allies gain invisibility. Nice little touch. Increases the survivability of some squishy characters, but then also Salvador's got the taunt already, so they're going after him. And then she's putting a dodge increase. That is beautiful. I had to put her kind of middle of the pack because you take away her lead. If you did not have the lead and you just read her move kit, she's bottom tier for me. And that kind of dawned on me is if you take away that leadership, she doesn't offer a whole hell of a lot. Her second ability, you have to build up that combo to help. I mean, 370 is not bad. But then she's usually dead before you can maximize that combo because her stats. 143 speed, not too bad. Health and shield combination, 33,000. So even when she is invisible and you go against AoEers, she's going to bring you down. Her magic armor is one of the best in the game at 35.6 to start. But still, with that low of a health and shield combination, you're screwed. Take away that leadership, she's nearly not as good, but she does have that leadership, and she's a mid-tier character for me. And finally, rounding out this video, coming in at 41, is Amara. Amara has one of the coolest kits on paper. I love the way her kit reads. And when you pair her with Thanisa, she goes to another level. But that also brings her down, is that she needs another person to really make her good. But she deserves to be at 41. Because you can put her in a burn team. You can put her in a goblin team. You need an AoE damage dealer. She could be your girl. So she does have good things to her. But to really bring out her full potential, you need Thanisa, because Amara and Thanisa gain 2% turn meter for each stack of burning or poison. So she could be in a poison team, she could be in a burn team. This move here deals 200 magic damage to an enemy, plus an extra 30% magic damage for each stack of burning or poison on the target. That can do some damage. Second ability is pretty good too, where she inflicts the burning for 2 turns. Damage to all enemies. 50% chance, not bad. And her basic is super lackluster to me. 50% chance to deal an additional target. It should just be deals damage to an additional target. A random target would be even better. 190 on a basic's horrendous. She should be better than she is. When you read her, you're like, oh man, I'm going to pump out some damage. I'm going to stack that burn. But she has a couple little issues. 140 speed, low end for a damage dealer. 34k health and shield combination. Magic damage is almost 3,300 to start. That is beautiful. Crit chance though, 18%. Yikes. She does do some cool things. She does have more plug and play viability, but to just, like I said, to reach that full potential, she needs Thanisa. So there it is, my YouTube family, 50 through 41. I'm enjoying making this. I hope you like the hat. My youngest daughter, she's 6, thought that this was the coolest looking hat ever. She found it in the old Halloween stuff as I went as... I don't even remember who I went as that year, but she thought it'd be super cool if I wore it in a YouTube video, so... An ass house boss, I do whatever my girls want me to do, essentially. To an extent. But anyways, if you're just finding me for the first time, and you're liking what you're seeing, click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, blah. Thank you for all the great feedback I'm getting on this series. I just wanted to make it special at year end and talk about some stuff like this. So, I love y'all. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.